will start off with this live stream with how I begun my game week. So we'll go to the live screen. Also, for those of you that are around for the last live stream I did, hopefully my microphone doesn't make me sound like Darth Vader again, because that was awkward. But we'll get on to my team. So, as you can see, we got 85 points, which is decent. It's decent. I know there are some people that got more, but a game week rank of 60,355th. That saw me get up to 529 points in total. Overall rank jump from 150 odd K to 47,116th. So a massive, massive improvement on my overall rank, which is much needed because I was getting a bit annoyed being around the 150 to 300k mark. So now we are in the top 1% of players. You know, I always aim to at least be in the top 1% of players, but I'm still shooting for that top 10k. I want that top 10k this year, and I think the way to do it is to go for some differentials, which could be very, very important for me. I made no transfers this week. However, we had some star performances, and I now go into the international break with 2 free transfers, which is absolutely fantastic. We had the man, the myth, the legend of this season so far, Eden Hazard, getting 14 points, doubled up as my captain. And I think this game week, Hazard as captain was a big, big thing because a lot of people went Kane, and then there were other options you could look at as well. Some options did just as well. Lacazette was another great captaincy choice you could have made. But Hazard, on a game week where a lot of people went for someone like Kane, captaining Hazard was a bit of a differential, which means when he went and got 28 points, a lot of people didn't have 14 points doubled up. They had like 2 points doubled up. So Hazard getting that 14 points was huge. I'm really loving Hazard at the moment, whereas seasons prior he has trolled me a bit. Although he was the man behind my drunk transfer last year that paid off as well. So maybe I should give Hazard a bit more credit. The other man that came in with a ridiculous score and could have been my captain and I'd had the same game week score was Callum Wilson, who, as far as I'm aware, a few people transferred out because he'd blanked 2 weeks in a row. His underlying stats had looked poor. And to be honest, he was one that I was considering getting out of my side. But, you know, I thought I need that 2 transfers in the international break, and then Callum Wilson and Bournemouth came in with an upset against Watford, winning by a ridiculous amount, and I managed to get a lot of points off of Wilson. Unfortunately, Fraser didn't get as many points. He only got 6 points. Ramsey turning up after I was very worried. He did nothing last game week. He didn't start this game week, but he came in off the bench. I brought him in hoping he'd be wanting to prove a point to Arsenal so he could maybe get that new contract, or to another club so he could get signed next year. And he came in with 10 points from very little game time, which is another bonus. Trippier and Alonso, good choices in my defence, getting me the clean sheets. Alonso seems to be drying up a bit as far as his attacking threat, but Trippier is still a very good option for me. Matthew Ryan finally getting some points, getting a clean sheet against West Ham. It hurt me that it had to be against West Ham, but 9 points was important. And other than that, Bennett getting 7 points on my bench, unfortunately. If I brought him in instead of Holebas, I could have been looking at about 93 points instead, which would have seen me rise even more. But I can't complain when I see green arrows everywhere, which is what I really want to see. So, some crazy results. That Liverpool-Man City game was boring. I watched it, and I'm pretty sure I fell asleep. Southampton-Chelsea and Fulham-Arsenal, though, great Sunday watching, to be fair. And then Bournemouth, Man United, Newcastle, that game was interesting. Man United options would really interest me if a new manager comes in, because I think there's some players there that could do big things, like Martial, Mata, that are maybe a bit undervalued because of the Man United side they're currently playing in. So it'll be very interesting management change there. Then apart from Leicester-Everton, a lot of 1-1s, 1-0s, but those 2 games made Saturday very, very interesting. And so I'm very happy with how that game week went. As far as the FPL Today League, if I can find it. Why can't I see it? That is strange. There we go. 311th for me, but top of the pops is KD Beast from Callum JC. 610 points so far, so that's a really good performance by him. No one that I know joins the stream stands out to me, but let me know if your name is amongst that list. And of course we have the international break, so my team is actually very likely to change. Holebas probably won't be in the side. Most likely change to Matt Doherty. Why I haven't made that transfer yet, I'm not 100% sure. I suppose I don't like making my transfers so early into an international break, so that is why it's not been made yet. But other than that, do I see much need for changing my side? I mean, Salah needs to do something at some point. But otherwise, I'm quite happy with my side. Alonso to Mendy may be a move I make, because Alonso really hasn't done as much as I was hoping he'd do since I brought him in. Did a lot before I had him, but there you go. So, we have 100 people watching as I finish talking about my side. So, let's get into some questions. But first of all, let me open my drink, because I really haven't opened it yet, so you know. It's thirsty work streaming. You guys should know this. We've got a question from M. Byrne, who is on my radar for the next 6 game weeks. So, next 6 game weeks, fixture-wise, there are some teams with some very, very tasty fixtures. However, they are not of the kind of calibre or pedigree where I think I'm going to really look at them as an option. But Newcastle and Brighton both have a very good run of 6 fixtures now. Newcastle have Brighton, Hove Albion, Southampton, Watford, Bournemouth, Burnley and West Ham. Is there anyone in that Newcastle side that stands out to me? Not really off the top of my head. When I do a bit more research into the underlying stats, maybe someone will stand out. But I don't think there's anyone from that Newcastle side that I'm really interested in. As far as Brighton, Glenn Murray and Knockaert are probably the ones I'll be looking for there. They have Newcastle, Wolves, Everton, Cardiff, Leicester and Huddersfield. And Glenn Murray is just one of those players that keeps scoring goals. And you can't complain about a player like that. Will he be a top priority? Probably not. A lot of what I'm looking at right now seems to be around wanting to get Lacazette. He has looked really good and he looked good in pre-season. The only issue with him was he didn't play in those early games. And if he had, he'd probably be in my side already, which is a shame. Liverpool have some nice fixtures coming up now. Huddersfield, Cardiff, then it's Arsenal, then it's Fulham, Watford, Everton. So I'm very tempted by going back to Andrew Robertson. Is there anyone else I'd really go for? I don't think there's necessarily a midfielder that I'd want. Maybe I could double up and go Mane again. But the way Mane and Salah are playing, I'm not sure I want both of them. Robertson looks like he could be a good way into that side to get some clean sheet points. It's cheaper than Alonso as well. Cardiff, not really interested in anyone from Cardiff. Huddersfield and Leicester's fixtures are very good after game week 9. Huddersfield have Liverpool, Leicester have Arsenal. So Leicester, I've got Maddison, but Vardy is another person that could come in with some great fixtures. West Ham, Cardiff, Burnley, Brighton, Hove Albion, Watford after that Arsenal fixture. So that is very, very tempting with Jamie Vardy there. Watford have a next good 4, but after that Bournemouth defeat, I just don't feel like I can go for Watford. Don't get me wrong, Watford started off the season very, very well, but I think, you know what, not sure I want to go there. Chelsea, Hazard, of course, is probably going nowhere. He's performed against big teams or small teams. He's just performing. Alonso, maybe I'll get rid of. I just feel like I can get those clean sheets elsewhere if he's not going to be giving up those goals and those assists. But maybe I'll just wait a little bit longer for that. I don't want to... Because you see, with Callum Wilson, a lot of people jumped off after 2 bad game weeks and then missed that 14 points that's just happened now. So I don't want to jump off a player too early if the underlying stats are still there. But as far as I'm aware, they're not there for Alonso. Fulham, now if you have Mitrovic, I don't understand. I've seen a lot of people getting rid of Mitrovic. Cardiff, Bournemouth, Huddersfield in the next 3. If you have Mitrovic, keep him. Please keep him. I feel like in those fixtures, with the amount of chances he's getting and in how open those games could be, especially that Bournemouth game as well. I know Bournemouth are doing well, but that game could be open. Mitrovic could score. So if you have Mitrovic, Schürrle, I know they didn't necessarily get the points you wanted, but please just keep them for those 3. If they still haven't done anything by those 3, then yeah, I'll hold my hands up. I was wrong. I feel like they could do something in those 3 fixtures there. West Ham have Leicester, Burnley, Huddersfield from game week 10 to 12. Do have Man City in 13, but then they have nice fixtures after that as well. So Arnautovic, of course, is a great option. Felipe Anderson and Yarmolenko are interesting. The 3-man midfield, Obiang, Rice and Noble. I don't really think there's anyone there that you really want to look at. Potentially Fabianski could do rather well in that period as well. So my transfers, I always try and go towards the fixtures, but then pick players in the sides of good fixtures that are doing well. So those are kind of the looks I'll be looking at in the next 6 game weeks. Ideally, now with my team covering a certain amount of bases, for instance, Hazard, Aguero, a few of the cheap players that are being picked regularly, like Fraser, Maddison. Defensively, I've got some decent cover there as well. Now I'm looking for the differentials. Ramsey was a differential. I looked at another bunch of differentials, and they've all done well. Unfortunately, Ramsey didn't get any points last game week, or he probably would have been the best differential. But now it's time I need players that are going to get me more points than everyone else if I want to keep rising the ranks. So I don't want to just pick differentials for differential's sake, but if I think there's a differential there that is likely to score points and I've still got cover elsewhere, then that is probably a move I'm very likely to make.